Hi, I am here with Mark Vale, and I'm so excited that you're here with us, Mark. Mark is a radio broadcaster for over 50 years, long time in radio, and you have graduated from the Resilient Transformation Academy and did some really incredible work in this academy. So thank you for being here with us today.
Appreciate it, Julie. It was a great and is a great experience. I mean, the academy itself, but what I'm able to do from this point on is as rewarding.
Beautiful. Well, where were you before you decided to join the academy? What were you experiencing?
Well, I had a number of issues, a lot of stressors. At my age, I should be retired, or I considered semi-retired, but working, uh, you know, part-time, still on the air, as I've been doing now for 50 years in one capacity or another. But in 2024, had some really stressful situations in the family life for years because of the work I've been in. I've battled high blood pressure, even some depression at times, and had gotten to the point with all the things going on, 24 and 25. Work was really getting to me, and I saw I think it was a LinkedIn offer, and was just kind of tired at that point of not seeming to get any substantive results out of the medications I was on and what I was trying to tolerate everything with. So that's why when we talked and when you did your introduction webinar, something just struck a chord, and I said, "Yep."
Okay, well, tell us what did you do in the past to try to fix that didn't work for you?
Well, I tried, and I still do every now and then, meditation. I preferred and trained in transcendental meditation. Uh, just got out of the habit, and it wasn't providing the type of relief or results that I had hoped for, or and what I had experienced years ago. And as you age, you kind of look for new things, and was he actually increased some supplements, nutritional supplements. Uh, Always as we age, you see a lot of age-related issues, but the ones that scared me the most because I've had several friends that have had severe dementia and Alzheimer's. And so that body mind connection um, just kind of worried me about this. So I started the supplements. But when I listened to you, that made a mind connection. And so there was something there that said, I'm missing a major part of this physical mental connection. And I really felt drawn to the academy.
Wow, so you realized that there was a major part missing between the physical and the mental. So what was unique and different about this academy and what you learned that had it click for you?
Well, besides the guidance, the inner balance app, the coherence training, hearing on the weekly resilient calls, what's working for other people, really, it's a new tool that just worked for me. I had read up on other biofeedback type mechanisms and practices. None of it really meshed with what I was seeing, but this did. So the having the tool and being able to on an app see get immediate feedback. At first, it was crazy disappointing because I couldn't get into the green only about 5% of the time. But um, with your guidance and the other members and the other trainers, you start to see that you have more control in this mind-body connection than you really realized, and that it's gotten better with more practice, and the result has been a pretty significant change in how I approach work and things that I'm dealing with in personal life, but also just the way I respond to things is totally different.
So would you say that instead of reacting, like somebody might say something at work that in the past would trigger you to go into fight or flight, you could catch that and instead of reacting and maybe saying something that you regretted, you were able to stop, pause, and then respond in a way that would be maybe more compassionate or drive a conversation forward in a different way?
What's not hard to believe is that the broadcast business has a lot of people with very, very large egos. And dancing around those in the workplace can sometimes be a real challenge. And, uh, all of us in the business have an ego. I've always thought that I kept mine under control, but I'd gotten to the point now where people could trip me, trip my trigger way too quickly and way too easily. And it was getting in the way of being a professional in some of the things I would be doing. But I also realized that it was implanting in my memory, and I wasn't letting things go.
Yeah.
I was taking it personally, even though it may not have been directed at me personally, but I took it that way and stayed angry for days on some people. And I've been able to just not react anymore, especially with certain people that I've dealt with, and I can I can tolerate and ignore them without getting upset.
So you said that you could stay upset for days. How quickly are you able to shift out of when you get triggered to shift out of that and come back into that state that we call coherence? How fast does that work for you?
Depending on the press of the day, when you're in the news business, the press of the news cycle can make it very changeable and variable. But in the normal types of stuff that could be days or even weeks of being PO'd, uh, now a matter of minutes at most.
Wow.
I can just let it go.
Matter of minutes and you're resetting. You're not doing anything from the outside. It's not like you're going for a walk or eating something healthy to shift you. It's coming from the inside, right? You're able to shift
Well,
something internally.
yes. Yeah, and you learn how to uh, recognize the trigger points out there that for almost, well, probably the last 40 years would trigger me. You see those coming and you go, well, there's another one here. I don't let it, right over the shoulder maybe.
I remember when we were starting, we were writing out your goals and what you wanted, and part of those goals were not being so frustrated with work-related issues, being less confrontational and being more calm. So in those goals right there, and you being able to achieve those, what has happened for you, like internally? Like, has it reduced your blood pressure? Are you sleeping better? Are you having better relationships at work and personally?
Better relationships at work in general, yes, because a few people I just now ignore. And it's very easy to ignore them and not uh, they just don't trigger me anymore. But yeah, I've had I regularly monitor my blood pressure and EKG with some of the new stuff, and where I was having stage one and stage two hypertension the last no month, it's mostly been normal
Wow, pretty
on the
amazing.
blood pressure, or maybe, slightly elevated, depending on the day. But also on the EKG, uh, I've been doing that about 18 months regularly. A year ago, I was having some type, it would alert about every other, and it's one of these, personal six lead cardiomobile is what it is. And it would say, you're showing signs of I don't even remember what it was, but it pointed it out every time, almost every time. And by the time I've been through, probably 6 weeks with you, I haven't had every EKG I've taken has been normal.
Wow. So
So,
beautiful.
so that those are the two um, identifiable, quantifiable things that I can point to. And I've also been on a weight loss journey now since, well, a little over a year ago, but got serious with it. And this is the weeks that I don't lose what I would like to do or gain a little. That used to just send me into irritation, but it's just part of the process.
And you're not getting as irritated. And then is it easier to get back on track now?
Oh yeah, up a half a pound, up a pound. Okay, it happens.
So it sounds to me like you're not so hard on yourself anymore.
Not in the ways that trigger you or trigger me anyway. Um, Still want to keep the eye on the prize, but I try to see that the prize is attainable on a marathon. And this is not 275,000 sprints.
Yeah. So it also sounds to you that you have a greater awareness of what your triggers are and a greater awareness of maybe what that internal dialogue is. Because we talk about that running the show that 95% of who we are by the age of 35 is a set of memorized habits, patterns, and emotional responses. Would you say that you have a greater awareness of what's been operating on the subconscious?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the only thing because with as many years ingrained into how to respond to news, and let's face it, most of the news that we reported, or the when I was running or was operating as the chief operating officer of a group of radio stations in 3 states, you'd get a phone call about a problem, and you'd immediately jump to either semi-crisis or crisis mode, depending on what it is. But now in the news, when you have really fast-paced activity in a community that you're trying to cover, it's much easier now to prioritize and say, that's a big story, but it's not as big as this one. So it's not chasing, it's setting, you're putting in motion a well thought out path, either covering the day's news, prepping a newscast, and going from one newscast, something happening, and just simply go and take the next one.
Wow, these sound like some pretty incredible results. People that are listening to this are like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And it happened in such a short period of time. So what was the amount of time that you put in to learning these tools and techniques throughout the week? And then how quickly did you start to notice it? Did you start to notice, wow, the first week I'm starting to notice this shift, and then you could see another shift in the next week? Like, did it start to happen quickly? And then how much time did you devote to learning these tools and techniques to make these shifts?
It started slow, actually. The frustration factor because I was more in the blue and red than in the green, and it was frustrating because I'm used to almost instantaneous results. But then I recalled, and we had a discussion. I recalled back to my TM training that the more I practiced and the more that I actually did it, the better the results were. And I took a week off, went on a vacation, forgot my sensor. And so when I got back, I could tell that it was time to get at it. And I tried to do at least 5 sessions a week. I wasn't always successful. There were a couple 7-day weeks. And now with the one new app with the guided, I'm able to even do that at work. And 3 months ago, I couldn't have done a session at work if I had to lock myself in a soundproof booth. But now I can do it with the newsroom, not really going crazy, but I can do a 3 to 6 minute guided in the HeartMath app. And quite frankly, the one this morning, uh, I know for a lot of people this doesn't sound high, but for me it was. I had a 3.9 coherence.
Yay.
Um,
Nice. Yeah, I know. We say too is that when you get this real-time data that's showing you your subconscious thoughts and your feelings, and you see it go into a lower score, people get a little bit anxious about that, and it makes their score go a little bit lower. So it's such an internal journey to kind of figure that out. And what I noticed about you is that when you got really committed to doing this and you started practicing, your score started to go up and you started to feel it even faster when you started to learn how to shift internally.
Well, the guided meditation this morning that I did made the point of if you feel yourself, your mind moving away, simply let it go and go back to the breathing. And that's basically what the basic TM training was. But this was, at this point, obviously, it was probably seeing what was going on because it's real time, but it was a very timely reminder, and you just let it go and get back to it.
So in learning all this, like how long are your sessions? Are they 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes? How long do you do a session?
I try to do the guided shorter ones every day now.
Okay. And there's
And
5 to 6 minutes.
yeah, there's actually one that's three something too.
Okay.
But I've tried all but one of them. Uh, seen a little better results, I think, with two of them than I have with the others, but that'll come along. And then I try to do at least two, if not three, longer sessions on the Inner Balance app. But I try to do those in a different location,
Okay.
and that seems to have provided me anyway with a better feeling about progress.
And when you say longer sessions, are you meaning like 10 minutes or 30 minutes?
I try to go at least 10, and depending on what I'm doing, I've gone anywhere from 10 to 45 minutes. Part of
Nice.
it, time of day, what the weather's like. If it's nasty outside, I can sit there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it depends a lot on what's going on, but try to
Mhm.
do the minimum of 10, and then sometimes I'll think about a time and I want to hit 20 minutes or a score, 200, 250. And so I don't lock in on 10 minutes.
Mm.
This one might be a 200 score.
Fantastic. Well, you have made some significant changes. And how do you think you're going to use this moving forward?
Well, I'm going to keep at it. Uh, that's for sure. It dawned on me finally that, if I would take the weight loss to the next level, I should probably be looking at an exercise routine, regular, not necessarily strenuous, but something for a guy that's in his, well, I'll be in my mid 70s this year. I probably would be smart to work with a trainer who could then guide. And I see this as a personal trainer for your mind and your emotions and your mental slash physical connection.
It's a
And
beautiful way to describe
that, it's like hiring a personal trainer.
for, well, and we do say mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, all four domains.
There's a lot to that.
Yes. So I was going to ask you, well, how would you describe this to a friend if a friend were asking? And I think that you just described it really well. It's like a personal trainer for all those four domains.
Well, when you have a personal trainer physical, they can see what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong and recommend either corrections or what to do for the next level. And that's kind of what you've done with core performance. Um, Guide, recommend, um, provide explanation of how and why it works. I mean, a personal trainer would tell me that if I want to increase core performance or cardio, you should be doing this or this or this.
Mhm.
And that's what you've done with this, in my opinion. You look at the results, you say, it's nice to get a text from you after I've done a session and you say, hey, need to, think about this a little more. So
Fantastic.
it's a virtual but very, very real similarity in my mind.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it. Thank you. That's a great analogy. Well, Mark, it has been such a pleasure to work with you. And just, you really committed to the process. You were resourceful. You were very coachable. Those are the three tenets that we say that you've got to have in this program. And you have all three. And you stuck with it and you made some remarkable changes. So, congratulations on your success.
Thank
And I
you.
look forward to seeing where you're going to be in a couple months from now.
All right, we'll do it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks.